This is The After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
Hey everybody, it is The After Party Live. Thank you for your patience. Had a little computer issue there, and I think everything is back to normal. Whew. Okay, so here we are, and welcome aboard. It is Travel Tuesday on the After Party Live, and I have to tell you that I found so many good stories that I don't know if we're going to make it to Travel Tuesday. So if you were looking forward to that, maybe adjust your expectations just a little bit, but I'm telling you, some good stories coming up right now. Huge thank you to everyone who participated in both the Nikki Maduro show and the Mark Thompson show today. Really, really a lot of fun. And to everyone who made it to the June swoon last night on the Mark Thompson show. That was a lot of fun too. So cool to see so many faces. I really, really enjoyed it. All right, let's get to it because we've got a lot to talk about. The first thing is about these packages. Now, I don't know if you've ever had a package go missing. It happens. And you wonder, where in the world did it go to? You know, what I wonder often is, where did the Mark Thompson show banner ever end up? They sent it off? Never arrived at its destination? Is it in a warehouse somewhere? Did it arrive to some house and the people looked at it and went, what the hell's the Mark Thompson show? I have questions. I wonder. Well, at least someone has an answer about this missing package. This package ended up, well, being found quite a while later after it disappeared, never arrived to its destination. 2 years after this woman ordered a package, she finds it while she's gardening. Her name is Meg Johnson. It was a dress that she had ordered. It was supposed to be delivered in 2022. They said they delivered it. She didn't know where it went. She was told the package had been delivered. She found it in a raised bed at the bottom of her garden in South Wales when she was doing some much needed weeding. The dress, though, as you can see, has been sitting outside for a couple years and it's ruined. It's decomposed, it's dirty, it's been in the rain and the weather, it's toast. She said she thinks this package was flung over the garden wall by the courier. Upon further inspection, she said, I see it's the dress I ordered 2 years ago. The bag has been torn open, where I can only assume, she said, that wildlife have been at it. The dress is wet, covered in soil, home to a lot of bugs and pretty much totally decomposed. This woman, who's only 30 years old, said she's recovering from heart surgery. She said she was so disappointed with the service. She contacted the courier company at the time, but it said, listen, this item's been marked as delivered on our end. They can't do anything about it. Since she's found this dress decomposing in her yard, she contacted the company again. She said, I emailed the CEO complaints. They just had a very generic response, basically saying they really can't do anything as they only keep records for 3 months. Nice. What, I guess you have to do a thorough search of your property to make sure that the courier didn't just, I don't know, set it wherever as long as it's in your yard somewhere? Well, the courier company is called Yodel. Did now, after the story became public, apologize to the woman. They say the safe delivery of our parcels is our number one priority. Yeah, it really sounded like it. And they say, we're sorry that her experience didn't meet the high standards that we strive for. We would encourage anyone expecting a delivery to share a safe space exclusively via our app, where we have introduced access to proof of delivery images. So it's her fault that she didn't tell you to leave it directly next to her door, that someone just flicked it over the garden wall. That's her fault? Good job, Yodel. All right. In animal news today, we have a little bunny to tell you about. This one from the Bay Area. Look at that. That's not a little bunny. That's a big old bunny found on Highway 17 in the Santa Cruz Mountains. This bunny was found by the CHP, rescued by the CHP, I should say. Sunday night, construction workers on Highway 17 discovered a rabbit really close to the lanes of traffic. Officers say they were able to rescue Bugs and give him a ride to Pacific and Santa Cruz veterinary specialist, where he's now receiving care. And of course, they snapped a little picture after the rescue. So, yep, there he was, just sitting right alongside the highway. And Bugs, they've named him, is now safe. So that's good. Here's a weird story as well. This one about a fish found on someone's lawn. Strange. This doctor is going viral after rescuing a live fish from his garden lawn in the UK. The doctor said he has no idea how this animal ended up on this patch of grass. It's a total mystery. The doctor has gone viral on social media. He said he heard a group of magpies, birds, squawking, went out to investigate, and then spotted this fish just lying in the grass. He's a cardiology doctor. He said, not that that matters as far as rescuing a fish. He said he was able to retrieve the fish and placed it in a freezer drawer filled with water, the only large container he could find at that moment. He said he also was able to lock the fish away from his 2 pet cats. So then he went down to the nearest pet shop and he bought a tank for the fish. He's named it Alice after sending a text message to his friend, auto-corrected "it's alive" to "it's Alice." So the name is now Alice. He posts about the discovery on X. It's been viewed more than 19 million times. People wondering what the mystery is on this fish. He says this whole thing is bonkers. He said it's pretty mad, really, finding a fish on the lawn. I have no idea how it got in the garden. Then I saw this thing on the floor and I'm like, what the hell? I went out and I was like, if it's an actual fish. So I took a photo to send to my fiance to say, how the hell is there a fish on the floor? And then it moved and I just couldn't leave it. He said, so today I found a goldfish just on the grass in my back garden. It was alive, I think, and I have absolutely no idea where it came from. There's no ponds anywhere near, so I took it inside. Yeah, he picked up this flapping fish, dumped it in the freezer drawer after he filled it with water, and it started to swim around, Alice. So, yeah. He said, I think it was seconds from death, so it's a very lucky fish. This cardiologist suspects that a bird may have picked up the fish from a nearby pond, maybe in someone's yard, dropped it while it was carrying it away, but they think it must have traveled a reasonable distance because there's really no ponds in this area. The mystery of this goldfish going viral on X. So, people are wondering, what the heck happened to Alice? I don't know. Someone even created an account for Alice. They think it's pretty funny. So the doctor is now keeping Alice as a pet, plans to purchase a larger tank for her, and maybe even another fish to keep her company. These things, this is how it starts. This is how you become a fish person. Oh, I have an update on the stingray. Remember we talked about this stingray that had this, they thought she's pregnant and they thought it was an immaculate conception, this virgin stingray. And they had no idea how she ends up pregnant because there's no creature in her tank that could possibly have helped her out with this situation. Well, they think she has a rare disease, actually, and this is what happened. The North Carolina aquarium where Charlotte the stingray lives, where she hasn't encountered a male stingray in at least 8 years, has closed while she's cared for. The rare disease that she has, a rare reproductive disease, negatively impacted her reproductive system, they think. She was carrying between 3 and 4 pups, despite not encountering a male stingray for 8 years. They say it's a unique, strange phenomenon. The update posted on social media Friday said a lot of people are asking for the name of the reproductive disease, but it's simply found under the text reproductive disease. That's all it's called. They found studies done on different species of stingray, none found on rays though. So they're trying to consult her medical team and try to figure out what's going on. But the aquarium staff thought maybe she had cancer after she began to swell. Then they figure out, oh, she's expecting. There were a lot of people that were putting forth theories on how this whole thing happened. They think that she became pregnant through something called parthenogenesis, where a female's egg becomes fertilized by her own cells. So if that was the case, then Charlotte would likely only be able to give birth to females because they would be her clones. That according to the aquarium. So, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. This fish, Charlotte, is between 12 and 16 years old. She was adopted from a private home. I don't know who has a stingray as a private pet. 8 years ago. She was carrying eggs in December, got much rounder. Stingrays carry the eggs in their backs, so they puff up on the backside. And she couldn't completely bury herself under the sand because she was so puffy. So now everyone is trying to figure out, is she going to deliver healthy pups or what's going to happen to her? Anyway, yeah, looks like she fertilized her own eggs. Hey, you know what? If there's no dude around, sometimes the ladies got to take things into their own hands. It's the way it goes. This is a more serious story about developmental disorders. And the scientists involved in a study say they've linked a gene to developmental disorders. Mutations in a single newly identified gene called RNU4-2. They say are responsible for developmental disorders affecting tens of thousands of people around the world. This gene can cause a collection of developmental symptoms not previously tied to a distinct genetic disorder. And they say it's a significant discovery because it represents one of the most common single gene genetic causes of disorders, ranked second only to a movement disorder called Rett syndrome. And the scientists with the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai in New York City say nowadays finding a single gene with a genetic variant responsible for tens of thousands of patients with a rare disease is very unusual. The discovery had eluded researchers for years because of various sequencing and analytical challenges. More than 99% of genes known to cause mutations that end up in developmental disorders produce proteins through a process called encoding. And these disorders cause developmental delays that affect someone's social, academic, occupation function, all these types of things. They could also cause intellectual delays that limit someone's learning, reasoning, or problem solving. And researchers figured they might be overlooking some genetic causes of developmental disorders because non-coding genes that don't produce proteins were being overlooked here. RNU4-2, they say, is a non-coding gene. Researchers discovered it after using a UK genetics library to analyze 41,000 non-coding genes in more than 5,500 people with intellectual disability and about 46,000 people that were healthy or didn't have the disability. So, interesting. The study's discovery of mutations in non-coding genes, specifically this gene, highlights a significant previously overlooked cause. It underscores, they say, and here's the key, the need to look beyond coding regions, which could reveal many other genetic causes, opening new diagnostic possibilities to research and opportunities. So you think you found one thing with one issue, and because of the way it's done, it unlocks the door to discover so much more about things that may be holding folks back. So, the Lotto story of the day, you ready for it? This one out of Michigan. This is a good one. I love a good win. This man was on vacation. So things were going pretty well for Douglas Woodside. He bought a lottery ticket before he left for vacation because he didn't want to miss the Fantasy 5 drawing. So he lives in Beaverton, Michigan. He said he didn't want to miss the drawing, so he buys a multi-draw ticket from the Fraternal Order of Eagles in Beaverton. And he leaves for vacation. They have a great time. They don't say where exactly they went, but they have a really good time on vacation. And he gets home. And that's about a week later. And he said, I remembered to check the ticket. So he looks it over 3 times. Then he has his wife look it over to make sure he wasn't seeing things. And then she confirms what he's seeing, and he starts shaking. He couldn't believe it. He won $110,000. They're going to do some home improvements at the house and maybe put a little in savings. But yeah, $110,000 and a vacation. Lucky man in Michigan. Love it. Did you see this hole punch cloud? It's really kind of cool. I'll show you a video of it too. This is what they call a hole punch cloud. And this phenomenon happened, it's very unusual. Look at that. It's kind of cool looking. It was spotted over Vermont. This hole punch cloud spotted over Vermont and New York. It's the result likely of a passing plane. The National Weather Service in Vermont said a cloud spotted in the Sunday morning sky bears what's known as a fall streak hole, also known as a hole punch cloud. Probably because of some type of plane passing by. The weather people say this type of cloud is usually formed when water temperature of the cloud is below freezing, but the water hasn't frozen. Here's what it looked like on the video. Check it out. I have it. I think I have it.
Before we get to the forecast, I wanted to share something that I got a lot of pictures of yesterday. A strange cloud formation seen in the sky Sunday morning in the Champlain Valley. Looks like a big chunk taken out of the cloud. So what's going on there? Well, that's what's known as a fall streak hole. Essentially, it happens when water droplets freeze and evaporate a surrounding cloud layer, so it leaves this big clear patch. And you can see how the ice crystals that froze sort of hang beneath it. You know, many years ago, this phenomenon was actually blamed for UFO sightings. And, well, you can sort of see why. It kind of looks like a flying saucer in the sky. But nope, a totally natural meteorological phenomenon, which is pretty rare around here.
Yeah, pretty cool. Interesting. Let's move from that to colon cancer. I know, you're thinking, why do I want to talk about colon cancer? Well, because there's an immunotherapy drug that could keep colon cancer patients cancer-free after surgery. It could be good news for people. Doctors in the UK say this immunotherapy drug given before surgery can help many more patients with a very specific genetic profile stay cancer-free long-term. The finding pertains to people with stage 2 or 3 colon tumors with a genetic profile known as MMR deficient MSI high. About 10 to 15% of colon cancers have this profile, according to a team at the University College of London Cancer Institute. And they say giving patients with this type of profile the immunotherapy drug, it's called Keytruda, before their surgery, kept up to 10 times as many of them cancer-free compared to if they hadn't received the drug, this trial shows. So this is pretty cool. Now, the doctors are cautioning we need to wait and see whether the patients in the trial remain cancer-free over a longer period of time, but they say the initial indications are really, really positive. They presented their information at the meeting of the American Society of Clinical Oncology in Chicago on Sunday, and the research, I will say, and it's notable, was funded by the makers of Keytruda. So just know that going into it. But the doctors involved in the research say it looks really, really promising. Did you hear about this necklace that saved this man's life? How crazy is this? You can see this necklace has a bullet lodged right in the middle of it. Yeah, it's a life-saving necklace. Imagine that thin of a necklace, and it's like divine intervention? I don't know. It's a .22 caliber bullet lodged in this silver chain the victim was wearing around this man, his neck. And it leaves him with a little bit of a puncture wound. And that's it. The shooting happened during an argument in Colorado. I don't know what the argument was about. It was in Commerce City near Denver. And the police release a picture saying, wow, this guy really dodged a bullet, right? The silver chain is 10 millimeters in width, and it's probably the only reason the victim of this shooting is still alive. The suspected gunman, also not identified in this case, was arrested at the scene and charged with attempted murder. Police say the necklace is silver in color, but it likely wasn't pure silver because silver is a softer metal, and might not have actually stopped this bullet. But check it out. A .22 caliber bullet lodged in this thin necklace, just the right width in order to stop this bullet. Saves his life, according to medical professionals. It would have gone right into his neck. So, and he walks away with a puncture wound. And I bet now he buys a new necklace, or maybe he puts that one back on and never takes it off. What a story to tell. Wow. Not that you want to have a shooting story in your arsenal, but if there were one to tell, that would be one for the books. This story is about Pringles. Everybody loves Pringles, right? No? They're kind of the perfect shape of the tongue. You pop them right in your mouth, and once you pop, you can't stop. And that is what this thief told police. A Pringles thief. He told police, once you pop, you just can't stop. Yeah. Adam Spencer is his name. He stole 17 tubes of Pringles in his robbery spree in April and May in the UK. He's spotted Tuesday by officers on patrol in the area who identify him as the guy they're looking for because of his connected to a series of burglaries and shop thefts. Mr. Spencer is fleeing on his bicycle as the officers pursue him and try to arrest him, and then dumps the bike and runs for it on foot. 2 of the robberies he was wanted for happened on the same morning in the same shop. He goes back again. After breaking through the back door at 2:40 a.m. and stealing meat products, he returns, allegedly, at 4:20 in the morning and steals a bunch more stuff. Police say he also stole from 3 other shops in the area. Yeah. The actions of prolific thieves like Spencer, according to the police, can have a very negative impact on communities who don't want to see their stores targeted again and again. They call it a very serious offense. He's sentenced the same day. He receives a 6-month prison sentence, suspended for 12 months. He's ordered to pay compensation and do a 6-month drug rehab requirement. But yeah, I don't think he was very remorseful, telling police, once you pop, you can't stop. I guess he really, really wanted those Pringles. There is a statue that is being returned to Libya. This statue at the Cleveland Museum of Art is 2,200 years old. It's a stone statue, and it's being returned back from whence it originated. The statue of a bearded man striding forward was created from black basalt more than 2,000 years ago during the Ptolemaic dynasty. And now, even after it was looted during British occupation in World War II, it is going to be returned to Libya. This museum has held the statue since 1991. And they say, based on information provided by the Department of Antiquities and research undertaken, the museum is voluntarily recognizing the statue as the property of Libya. In Libya, the head of the Department of Antiquities said he appreciates the willingness of the Cleveland Museum of Art to work with their department in accomplishing the transfer of this really important work. And they said they look forward to continued cooperation with that museum. The statue is only 2 feet tall. Again, formed from basalt, hard volcanic rock, formed from lava. The bearded man is dressed in contemporary fashion of the day. He's wearing a kind of a t-shirt looking thing and a wraparound skirt and a shawl. This statue was first discovered in a large storage jar during 1937 and 38 in the excavations of the columned palace at Ptolemais in Cyrenaica, which is now part of eastern Libya. The statue ended up at the Ptolemais Museum in Libya, which was destroyed during the British occupation of this area. The art history scholars thought this was likely lost in 1941. By 1960, it had made its way to Switzerland, and it spent from 1966 to 91 in a private collection of New York art collectors Lawrence and Barbara Fleischman before it was donated to the museum in 1991. They say, given the rarity of the type of this sculpture, carved of stone, with precise replicas very unlikely, and the extremely close resemblance between the sculpture given to the Cleveland Museum of Art in 91 and the sculpture described and illustrated in 1950, together with wartime events that took place in Libya, the Cleveland Museum of Art has concluded the sculpture rightfully belongs to Libya. I hope more museums do this, return these culturally significant pieces to the countries and places where they belong. Oh, you saw this story about ancient crystals that reveal the evidence of fresh water. That's according to scientists. And I don't know. Beautiful. Look at those crystals. They say that chemicals in zircon, well, let me first tell you that this was collected, the crystals, in Jacks Hills, Western Australia. And they've done a new analysis of ancient grains of crystal embedded in the rock in the outback. And what the analysis showed was that the Earth had dry land and fresh water 4 billion years ago. And that's at a time when scientists had thought that the whole world was completely covered in ocean. But they found these chemical clues in these crystals that revealed the hot molten rocks in which they originated did come into contact with fresh water during the formation of these crystals. The scientists involved in this have published their findings in the journal Nature Geoscience. Their study done by the Curtin University School of Earth and Planetary Sciences in Australia, as well as the United Arab Emirates Khalifa University as well. They say by examining the age and oxygen isotopes in the tiny crystals of this mineral zircon, they found unusually light isotopic signatures as far back as 4 billion years ago. Kind of cool. They say such light oxygen isotopes are typically the result of hot, fresh water altering rocks several kilometers below the Earth's surface. And that means the evidence of the presence of fresh water could only be explained by the existence of dry land, where water would collect and seep into the continental crust, meaning the world looked a lot different than they had thought at that time. Scientists involved in the study say we have two important things here. We've discovered the earliest evidence of fresh water and representative evidence for dry land above sea as well. And that means the recipe for the origins of life existed less than 600 million years after the formation of the Earth, long before the dinosaurs or even earliest known microbial life. The earliest widely agreed upon evidence of life and fresh water comes from stromatolites, fossilized microbes that formed mounds in hot springs 3.5 billion years ago. So they say this discovery sheds light on the Earth's history and suggests that land masses and fresh water set the stage for life within a relatively short time frame, less than 600 million years after the planet formed. How cool is that? The findings set to mark a significant step forward in our understanding of the Earth's history and open doors for further exploration into the origins of life. Wow. Interesting. And you think it's just a little rock sample, right? And look at the doors it unlocks. How cool and how crazy is that? Absolutely wild. I'm telling you. Here's a story that just popped up. We talked, I don't know, I think it was the Nikki Maduro show. We were talking about speeding. And this story on SF Gate uncovers, I don't know, discusses a recent arrest of someone caught speeding on Highway 101. Unfortunately for this driver of a Porsche, over Memorial Day weekend, where the CHP is really cracking down on driving. A driver on Highway 101 in the North Bay is busted. He's going 133 miles an hour on the freeway. The 65 mile per hour speed limit blown out. 68 miles faster than the speed limit. 68 miles an hour faster than the speed limit. Busted. The officer was using LiDAR, confirms this Porsche was going 133 miles per hour according to the CHP. And they say it really doesn't take a lot of imagination to figure out what would happen if the vehicle had crashed at that speed. The driver pulled over near Lytton Springs Road in Healdsburg. For a driver caught going between 26 and 99 miles per hour over the speed limit, the fine can reach about $500. Now, that's not including the rise of your insurance, right? And I don't know what the fine is for this one. Going that fast? Maybe a suspended license? I don't know. How crazy is that? CHP in Santa Rosa confirming 133 miles per hour on the highway. Just wild. I don't know. Speaking of traffic and things on Bay Area roadways, there was a car fire in the Caldecott Tunnel this morning. I don't know if you guys remember the truck fire, the truck explosion that happened in that tunnel many, many years ago. When there's a car fire or any type of fire in a tunnel like that, kind of the hairs on the back of my neck go up. They have all lanes open on Highway 24 again, but they had a call this morning about a car fire. They had 35 firefighters rush out there to deal with this because they know, right, exactly what happened. So there were a bunch of cars stuck in that tunnel. They had to evacuate people, about 100 cars immediately impacted because they were in the tunnel or about to enter it. There's a driver that was stuck there, and I'll show you the video. Just crazy and scary because I don't know if people remember what happened to that in that tunnel, but I certainly makes me think about that. But here's what it looked like. Check this out. Yeah. So you can see everyone stuck there, and you can see the car fire above in the tunnel. Yeah. And what do? You can't turn around. You know, the place is filling up with smoke. Yeah. Pretty scary situation in the Caldecott this morning. So, again, 35 firefighters rushed out there. Looks like everything ended up being okay for people that were stuck in this area. But that's the scene. That's what tell us about the scene. That's what it looked like in the Caldecott this morning. So, yeah. I mean, yeah. Go into the chat, see what you guys have to think about that, and speeding in general. Clark, hi Clark, did 145 a couple of times on highways in a flyover state in the Midwest, driving a couple different Mercedes sedans. Yeah, it can take several miles to stop at that speed. Wouldn't try it today. Clark, you're such a wild guy. I had no idea. Wow. Mindy says you have to leave your car to burn. I think so. If you're in the Caldecott, yeah, the firefighters come out. What they don't want is an explosion and a fireball like we saw. And granted, the other situation was a large truck, but still kind of brings back some memories. You're probably right, because I knew I mispronounced it when I said it, but I just wanted to move forward. So thank you. Yes. B.A. Ware says the vehicle code imposes specific penalties for motorists who drive over 100 miles per hour on a California highway. The first offense results in a ticket with a base fine of $500 and up to 30 days of license suspension. Heather was doing close to 115 on the Autobahn several years ago and had someone on her bumper. Holy mackerel. That's crazy. Yeah. Wild. Looking at the chat to see if anything else should be popped up. Oh, talking about the museum pieces, teacher Lori says there's no excuse for not returning all artifacts to countries of origins. She says we have ability to scan and create holographic displays for museums so people can see and give things back. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that as well. Wes, I think this is about the bullet in the necklace. If you're hanging out with people that have tempers and guns, probably should hang out somewhere else. Yeah, probably should. Absolutely. Conspiracy theories sound better than just plain science on these phenomenon in the skies. Kind of, right? The whole UFO thing versus it just being a weather phenomenon. Yeah, probably. I'm not saying, Heather says, I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens. Backdoor stingray? Probably not. If it gives birth to a mermaid, we'll find out who done it. You guys, I love you all. Ren says we had a betta fish that jumped out of its bowl onto the counter. We found it dried up, but threw it into the water and it was fine. The second time it jumped on the floor and the dog ate it. Oh God. I had a friend with a goldfish. They wanted a fair. One of her kids wanted at a fair. And they named it Bait because they had a cat that would just sit and paw at the water. Bait grew to be huge. Your story is funny, but then not so funny. Munch. Wouldn't you look out around the house if you were expecting a delivery? Over the back fence is a legitimate delivery. If you leave it on the porch, it might get stolen. I think regarding that package, there are specific things you expect, and you don't expect it to be dumped in shrubbery where it was clearly not visible. I mean, you're going to walk around your entire yard and property to see if it was just chucked somewhere. I don't know about you, but I expect it to be on the porch or maybe on the walkway or right over the fence, something, but not just dumped in a weird area. I don't know. All right. Well, you guys, thank you for being here. Oh, I used to have a brackish tank and one of the fish would jump out weekly. Had to get creative to keep it in. Goodness. Yeah, Mindy says, deliver it to the front door, not in the backyard. Don't think so. Thank you guys for being here with me on the After Party Live. Please click the thumbs up button on the way out. And if you could subscribe, I think we're up to 2018 subscribers. So that's pretty cool. I'm really excited about it. Pushing toward the next goal of 2,500. And it's because of your help and your assistance. Thank you to everyone who contributes to the PayPal link. You can find it in the show description and in the About tab of the After Party. And I will see you tomorrow on the Nikki Maduro Show and the Mark Thompson Show. It's John Rothman Wednesday. And we also have Belinda Weymouth with It's the Planet Stupid, which is one of my favorite segments. It's going to be a really good show. And I'll see you back here on the After Party Live. I hope you guys have a great afternoon. Stay cool out there. I can feel the temperature heating up. So make sure you're ready to hydrate and keep it cool if you're here in the Bay Area or anywhere where it's heating up. Thanks for being here, everyone. Make it a really good one. Bye-bye.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.